Doctor Who Episode 4. This one is gonna be a banger.
Get off my world.
Because Lucky Day starts with this. Continues with this.
Well, let's just see how this weekend goes.
Throbbing.
Before transforming into the most political, blunt, sledgehammer into your face the message show that I've seen in a long, long time.
Of radical blogs, subscription to Albion TV.
And this just keeps going on and on.
Revisionist podcast is an echo chamber of disinformation.
They double down on it the entire second half of the episode.
An angry little man who put the safety of this country at risk.
And like ever in these shows, of course the heroes are just pure evil.
I'm glad he's not here, because he would have stopped me.
They even get Ncuti to come back and, for once in his life, try and be serious. Doesn't work.
You stamp on the truth, choke our bandwidth, and shred our patience.
I'm going to tell you the moment of your death because you committed the dangerous crime of not believing in aliens.
You're deluded.
The grown-ups are talking!
And the messaging isn't even the only problem, it's how they reveal it. This guy thinks that they're faking aliens. So the way he draws them out is to fake aliens. How could you ever lure a group out to stop aliens that they know don't exist?
Just give me that.
He's even got a guy working inside UNIT, so we therefore know they were pissing real. It's like, oh, the more this episode explains, the worse it gets. So it's rather ironic then that the entire message of you should just trust everything the institution tells you is in an episode that you can only like if you just wholesale swallow everything it tells you without any consideration, analysis, or intellectual thought. That might be why BBC viewers are comparing it to the worst ever episodes, because this episode got the worst Doctor Who ratings of all time, which is fairly impressive when it had to beat 2 weeks ago when that had the worst Doctor Who ratings of all time, which had just beaten the week before of the worst Doctor Who ratings of all time. And this episode ain't gonna win any of them back. Viewers claimed it was worse than even Love and Monsters. Lucky Day will upset everybody, as Davies planned. Although it is worth pointing out that this was written by Peter McT, the guy who was writing the Doctor Who spin-off series, so this is a sign that's going to be a banger as well. Speaking of bangers, this episode was directed by an absolute hoer, a dirty hoe. It's the little things that bring me the most amusement. Now, of course, the BBC lecturing people on how to trust institutions would probably carry more weight if their presenters didn't constantly keep going to prison for various different, how shall we say, playground offences. They've even got a rather interesting statue resembling it outside their offices, where the artist, he was involved in it as well. So it's rather easy to believe then that this episode is simply moral lecturing from evil people. And in that vein, it makes a lot more sense. It has a good message at its heart. Shut up and do as you're told by the evil people. Don't think about it. If you think about it, you'll realise what they are. We can't have that. At no point does he think the nonsensical scenes and depressing final few minutes that rob the viewer of any kind of enjoyable ending might be because the message isn't good at its heart, and your subconscious is more intelligent than you are. And yet, the critics love it. This is talking about radical revisionism and echo chambers, noise, weaponized lies, insecurity and fear, because they can only understand the world from their perspective. So anything you disagree with them on must be from their own weaknesses. Before seeing the current FAS ideology, defunding and dismantling programs such as indoctrination, repeated 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, he proves that his ideology isn't based on ignorance, it's based on hatred and fear. It must be based on my own weaknesses. Of course, the series does have some people that like it. There's a tragic symmetry that if Doctor Who gets cancelled, it will be after delivering 8 of its best and most politically charged stories. I can't help thinking that these seem interchangeable for him. What I like about this is it's politically charged. It's telling those scum over there what I think of them. And I mean, at some points, Doctor Who has been incredibly based.
I can be king, and we can start wars with the French,
Based! This is the kind of leader we need. Let's invite the aliens.
Spanish, and the Portuguese, and everyone who doesn't look British.
Yes, I'm with you. It's time to relive the glory days. And that's the sense that I get from the reviews. I'm not okay. I'm really not. This is real world politics interrupting your favourite programme in the wrong way. Not that they disagree with anything that was in it. They just don't want their own unhinged delusions in their entertainment, because even they don't find it entertaining. I don't fault BBC for wanting to call out behaviours, but Doctor Who is meant to be for escapism, to whisk us away in space and time, to give us a break from the weight of reality, even if only for an hour, We need that now, more than ever. It's the only escape they have from their mental illness. They've just been to see the Thunderbolts. Doctor Who was meant to prevent them jumping off a roof. And the irony, even if the people that we're trying to insult and criticize in the episode saw this, they wouldn't care. They'd dismiss it as the propaganda it is. They're going to keep doing what they've always done. So what was the point? The very complaint is the people that I insult and criticize are too strong, too correct, and too grounded in reality to listen to my delusions, so why should we bother? We're winning, folks! Pete, I owe you an apology, and the BBC owes you a P45. If the show is going on hiatus, it's going out with a bang. Yes, because shows always go on hiatus when they're releasing their best content. In any successful entertainment industry, this would result in blacklisting from every single company across the entire world. Nobody would want to touch the guy that could burn their business to the ground. I think there comes a time in your life when you look around as everybody despises you and you're like, oh, I really deserve a superior class of criticism. I demand better from my enemies. As we delve into one of the strangest, most politically charged episodes of Doctor Who of all time. I think this one is definitely going to be up there with Bubble, as at no point did Peter McTee realise that all of his favourite identity groups are now pure evil scum. So join me in the episode that seems to be as two-faced as the creator himself. It's gonna be a good one, folks. As we fight the greatest villain known to man, an English podcaster. With a better studio than me, I gotta be honest. The movie starts with explosions. Looks like Guy Fawkes missed again. You wouldn't be cheering if you knew what was coming in the episode, mate. But as the crowd sings Auld Lang Syne, the Doctor arrives, and is only in it briefly. One of the main reasons the first half of the episode is good.
Okay.
You just can't take him seriously.
Definitely London.
Yeah, pretty sure he lives in London. Is like, this place stinks. Didn't used to, kind of went downhill rapidly. Nobody knows why. Mysterious event.
Definitely when.
I am working it out.
He's slower than other doctors. They would have known immediately, but him, gotta get his shaft ready.
Look, I have found 50p. We are winning.
Ground his money off the floor like a homeless person. Other doctors didn't know what currency was when they got stuck. They're like, I don't know what to do. I found 50p. But this doctor has a dangerous combination. He works for the BBC and he's got money. We know what they do with that.
You need to get home. Oh, hello.
Oh, no, run, kids. Run! You can't be around the BBC, it's not safe.
What is your name? Conrad, I'm the doctor.
This can only end badly.
And this is Belinda, Chandra.
Belinda, yeah, introduce her first. I'm sure she's got a high IQ question to ask. She's always contributing.
Weird question. What year is this?
Never disappoints. Even the doctor's like, oh god, why do I bring her with me? It's 2007 though, and the doctor's shaft pings to show that it's ready and he can piss off, hopefully forever. At that moment though, his BBC instincts kick in.
Conrad, I think this is meant for you.
He just can't help himself. Random kid turns up, give him money, see what happens.
Why?
'Cause it is your lucky day.
Don't trust him, kid. Run away. Do not follow him down a dark alley. Do not enter his shadowy police box with the blacked out windows.
Hey, where are your parents?
It gets worse. Do you have any adults that might miss you anytime soon?
Should we get you to him?
Smart kids. What an absolute champ. I don't trust either of you cretins. He's offering me money. I'm going to take it and leg it. There's no way he's catching me. Look how he's skipped every leg day. Except his third one.
Happy New Year.
But he's like, don't worry, plenty more of them in London. We set up base here for a reason. He runs through though and he's like, Mom, there's a box. It just appeared out of nowhere.
The Doctor and a Belinda Chandra.
Why would you go a Doctor and a Belinda like she's important? Especially in London. You would have already been told about thieves and stabbings by this point.
Times, Conrad. Enough with the lies.
She's like, you're lying. There's no way someone called Belinda could be in England. It's not 2025. It's only 2007.
You're spoiling my my night.
As if anyone's ever cared about that. Oh god, the insufferable cow's upset. Diddums. I'd hope the doctor kidnapped her instead, but she's not really his type. We get a voiceover though from the older him. He was 8 years old when he first saw it. He followed all the stories, interviewed eyewitnesses from across the globe. But this week he's got a new guest, somebody that knows the doctor's secrets. In fact, she's travelled with him before. I am confused about how in this live interview he's managed to pre-record audio waves from the future and doctor technology.
She's even been inside it, and I'm gonna ask her to introduce herself.
Makes a change for her to be inside something rather than everything to be inside. Okay.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ruby Sunday.
For this episode, I would have said she was the best thing about the two series. She's like David Tennant, came back to kill her own career. It's amazing. Once more, we enter the puckered time vortexes of the BBC. We see him, though, 17 years later, after the first scene. He just finds the Doctor again. Like it's fate. Every time people keep meeting the Doctor, it's like the universe is pulling us together. Why is it doing it this time? Just the power of political magnetism. Thing is, though, he hears screaming inside the next building. There's smoke coming off the lock, and he's like, well, I'm going in there. What an idiot. We get this sort of horror vibes, which only works because Ncuti Gatwa isn't in the episode. I would have left now, but I'm not as stupid as the BBC writers. At this point, you're just an idiot for staying. And he's getting jump scared all over the place. This is worth remembering because it does contradict other stuff later in the episode. If all of this is meant to be a fake performance, you have to ask, who is it for? Because he's not meant to be here. Who are they faking the aliens for, you stupid twat? But something starts dripping on his neck. Kind of surprised this didn't happen in the scene when he was a child. He's like, I'm soaking. Something's been dripping on me from a height. Oh, it's all sticky and stringy. All over my face. We see a creature behind him, but just as it appears at the top of the stairs. Yeah, a sonic screwdriver just beams it out of existence, and he runs and hides. There's the shriek! I zapped him back into his hive. He says it in a very English way.
Where's the shriek?
Zapped it back into his hive.
Yeah, I'm not sure where exactly that accent originates. I think it might be South Yorkshire.
Zapped it back into his hive.
He said, please tell me I wasn't peed on. No, it's actually a sort of tracking hormone that it puts on you, so that it can find you anywhere. But don't worry, I've got this vial of mysterious liquid that can, cure you of it. You know, this dangerous unknown substance that is going around that can hurt you later on. You'd almost call it like long something or other. But don't worry, the doctor has a mysterious cure on him that if you just accept it, you'll be fine. And if you don't, there will be consequences. Not just for you, but for the people around you. It's called like a vacuum. Yeah, one of those vacuums.
But this neutralizes the pheromone.
Yes, just trust him and you'll be fine. Don't think about it. You don't know what you're talking about.
Do I drink it?
Tastes like candy floss.
Doesn't taste like candy floss. He's already lied to her. More ammo for this guy, really, isn't it?
You're such a liar!
You can't get tracked by the shriek anymore.
He's like, yes, I am a liar, but I'm lying for your own good. Much like Bubble, on first watch, a lot of these lines don't really mean anything. But when you go back and watch it again, knowing what they're trying to tell you, everything has a different spin on it. Now, of course, he's been covered in the pheromone, and I fully expected him to go, hey, mate, can I get some of those vacuums, please? I don't want to die. But instead, he says nothing, and just watches him leave. He's snapping secret photos. Surprised they didn't do some kind of weird upskirt message with it, but here we are.
Hello?
Is there anybody there? Have you come to burgle my house? So it is strange that he's hiding from her, only to, a very short amount of time later, approach her for an interview. You could just call to her there, mate. Have you seen this woman, he types.
And I've been looking for you ever since, for a whole year.
I go, hey, love, what's going on? No, instead he had to investigate for a year to find the person who was next to him.
To land you on my podcast this morning.
Yeah, the last thing I'd expect for her is to go on a podcast she hasn't, watched. I mean, she's got the picture of him, but at no point watched his podcast that was like, all of this is faked and it's a big massive conspiracy. She has no idea. Now, in this room, his podcast studio, it's very big. He's got multiple members of staff. It's a full office. He's very successful. Everybody must know what this podcast is about. How he despises the Doctor, right? I mean, someone must have watched an episode.
20 years old. I'm from Manchester.
We won't hold that against you.
Live in London with my mum and gran.
Might hold that against you.
And I've got another mum now, Louise.
Alright, it's London. They do things weirdly down there. But we get to see a guy listening to their podcast, going into his office, and it turns out he works for UNIT. It's not surprising that UNIT would listen to a Doctor Who podcast. It is surprising that they'd listen to a Doctor Who podcast going, everything the Doctor does is fake and it's all there to indoctrinate the public. Yes, though, who is the Doctor? Well, I can't go into specifics, but...
My best friend. We used to travel together and...
Yeah, he's so much my best friend, I left him. For basically no reason. This guy, though, they have to point out at all times, he is an idiot. Look, he's English, he's part of the in-group, and so we've got to humiliate him with a British Broadcasting Corporation. And we hate the nation.
Something.
Yes, alien.
Oh, aren't English people stupid? They can't even have a cup of coffee on their table. Really is amazing how they managed to take over most of the world. But she says we were looking for something. Aliens?
Aliens are real. We all know that.
But some trolls online.
This doesn't make any sense. He clearly has a massive podcast with a big studio, loads of people behind him, fans in every industry. His entire podcast is dedicated to aliens aren't real. And yet he's just called his entire audience trolls. Over his own podcast that they know he agrees with them on.
Say UNIT, all this talk of monsters is just a cover story for something else.
That's him. That's his podcast. That's the podcast that she's on. She could have found this out by listening to an episode.
Maybe they're afraid of the truth. There's no reason to be scared. I mean, the people at UNIT are amazing.
Yeah, UNIT are amazing. Obviously, they're amazing. Have you not seen the amount of identity groups which are in there? We got all the identity groups, the weak, the vulnerable, the pathetic, they're all there. Of course your country's safe in their hands.
Good work, keeping us safe.
You're gonna keep us safe? Unless there's some stairs involved. A lot of them can't go upstairs.
I don't just fire darts, mate.
We can keep the Earth safe as long as we don't have to go up a slight incline. He says, I've been trying to get you on the podcast for years. No one ever returns my calls. Look, he's pissing office. I'm filming this in my pissing front room. He says that there's a great cafe around the corner. We could go there if you want.
Cafe around the corner, if you have time for a quick one.
I mean, I probably wouldn't have opened by asking her if you wanted a quickie, but, you know, each to their own.
Oh,
I mean...
now.
The problem isn't that I've just met you, it's that, you know, I've got to get back to my insufferable family so they can exploit me for more benefits.
Coffee, obviously, or...
Yeah, coffee, because, you know, she probably thought you were talking about... But remember, he is an idiot. He's English. We shouldn't have to keep spelling this out for you, but we do, don't we, Peter?
Or tea, or just...
Oh, no, he's just an absolute fool. Oh, for some reason this works, by the way. I'm pathetic and useless. I'm entirely clumsy.
Coffee sounds great.
Yeah, she wasn't interested until he showed he was incompetent, weak and vulnerable, easily exploited. And then the person that works for the BBC is like, actually, you could be useful to me. Really saying more about you than other people, aren't we, Peter? With that, though, she shows him a video of the screech.
The teeth on that.
Yeah. Let's hope she has more control over them when you get her back to the privacy of her own home. She describes the shriek, though. They live in a pocket dimension. Once a year, they come out to hunt. It happened a year ago, but this is from last night. This one came back to hunt you, specifically. But luckily, UNIT, they already captured it and made you safe. Otherwise, it would have ended badly for you.
And if UNIT hadn't captured it, it'd be hit by now.
This is probably the strongest scene in the episode, and it's one that Ncuti Gatwa couldn't have pulled off himself. With him being removed, you get a more serious tone. You can go for the horror vibe, and it gives you an idea of what Doctor Who could have been if you actually had employed somebody that fit the role.
And then what?
It'd wait till night.
Hell, if anything, this guy would have been a better Doctor Who. I have no idea who he is.
The shriek's background radiation messes with electricity.
As they're explaining what the shriek does, everything happens in the episode. It's a genuinely well done scene, so congratulations. You hoa. Describe how next thing it would do is it would show itself. Just a glimpse, peering over the wall.
Like it's time, breaking in.
Get sound effects, tension, and people actually scaring the ones they're talking about. It enjoys the hunt. It feeds off the adrenaline, feeds off fear. And then I can't help thinking that the next bit, well, it's probably a bit more of the message.
Once you scared and running.
Yes. I think they mean that about the audience. Or as I see that as your average BBC presenter. The ones who look at that statue and think, oh, the good old days. It makes you scared, pumping from adrenaline because it likes the taste. Luckily, though, none of this scares him because he lives in London. He's surrounded by terrifying things from around. He has far bigger, more dangerous things to worry about. With that, though, she's got the antidote. It comes from UNIT itself. It can cure you of their pheromones. It won't be able to hunt you anymore.
Drink it tonight and it blocks the shriek from tracking you.
It comes straight from the institution. Obviously, you can trust it.
The doctor saved your life.
Yeah, well, they did that a lot.
When? It would have been nice if you put any of those times in the series. At one point, he left you in a building surrounded by murderous aliens because he was trying to get his end away. You only survived because of other people, not the doctor. He says, though, meeting him as a kid is what inspired me to get into weird tech, UFOs. Started the entire podcast on strange things. He even kept the 50p piece that he got given. Maybe he wished he'd taken up the BBC's offer. He could have got some more money out of them. They're just like, shh. But then he hits her with a line that's so cheesy, it could have come out of Rogue.
He said it was my lucky day. I think he was wrong. I think that's today.
Gonna throw up in my mouth. She immediately backs off, though. Take this before bed. It makes you go to sleep.
On one condition, you let me buy you dinner.
I mean, that is one hell of a way to blackmail somebody. Let me buy you dinner, or I'm not gonna take this and an alien's gonna hunt me to death with all my family. No wonder she's surprised.
Or we both buy dinner.
I wasn't.
If that's too old-fashioned, just we...
Yeah, I mean, this is the BBC. We're embracing evil. We're marching towards the death and destruction of the country. Obviously, we can't do anything like we've done it for thousands of years. That'd be wrong.
No, we eat it together.
Right.
Like you do with food, useless cretin. But she is really excited. She goes back to the useless scroungers.
Hold on. I promised Louise a photo.
I got this far off the state with the money that I leached off the country.
Let me be excited. You haven't had a boyfriend for ages.
Almost as long as you've not had a job, love.
Okay, just not the flash.
Why, because you're blonde? I'm wrong with the Flash. The amount of scandals that have come out about the BBC, you should be used to flashing people by now.
Let's try again.
And he's not my boyfriend, it's just a date.
And we saw her future in season 1. She dates lots of people.
I didn't become a little bit of a slag, I became a total slag.
She just kept lining him up throughout the years.
Yeah, but you're getting on with your life.
You're getting on a bit though, aren't you? You should probably settle down with one of them for once.
Moving on.
Conrad Clark.
Oh, the super scroungers are here now. Still not moved into any other free house that was offered to her in episode 1, though.
Conrad Clark. I wonder if you're on the Instagram.
What?
Conrad Clark. I wonder if you're on the Instagram.
Can you speak English, love?
Conrad Clark. I wonder if you're on the Instagram.
I don't know. I'm gonna need an interpreter.
What you talking about?
You. Then you. You did too? Spur.
Thank you.
Spur? The TARDIS translates.
And he's nice and he's normal and it's no big deal, okay?
He's even got a job. When he walks into this house, it's gonna be like having garlic near vampires. Like, somebody that works for a living.
Clark with no E. And if you scroll down, he's got his shirt off.
Oh, they're perverts as well. Dirty, scrounging perverts.
Oh, don't pretend you haven't looked.
That was probably why she didn't say yes immediately. She's like, just gotta go on his gram and see if he's got any dirty photos. I imagine the BBC do this for all their hires, to be honest. Go through people's social media, make sure there's not anything dodgy there, check for any childhood photos.
Okay, I'm gonna be late.
But as she finally leaves the benefit fraudsters, I'm pretty sure this is the same bar that was in season 1 where she met all those other fellas. Total slag.
Your gran sounds hilarious.
No, my family is mad.
And lazy. You're like, oh no, her gran, she's bedbound. How would you expect her to? Well, we disprove that later on as well. But she says, I've asked you about your family before, but you dodged the question. Well, it was just me and my mum, but she died. Oh no.
Never really talked about it.
You could talk to me.
You could tell me all of your weaknesses so I can remember them and bring them up in an argument in 5 years. Yes, I could do that. But he says, I'm sorry, I'm not as cool as the doctor.
No, you're nice. You're lovely.
Great. Every bloke loves being called nice. And imagine not being as cool as Ncuti Gatwa. The guy who's never found a dress he didn't enjoy. Everybody looks at his photo and goes like, whoa, you're so cool, you are. That skirt really brings out your eyes.
And that's what I need right now.
That's what I need right now. And then, to be fair, he asked a question so stupid. It's like he entirely forgot the time he met Ncuti.
Was he your boyfriend?
No, God, no.
There's not a single person on Earth that thinks she's his type. His first scenes in Doctor Who started telling you who his type was.
I just got snowman and I would like to go home.
Ncuti came down the birth canal pirouetting with a slight air of disgust. Oh, I never want to be in one of these again. Does she strike you as the kind of person that wants to put a carrot in a snowman's face?
If he was here, he'd be flirting with you.
I forgot that was in the episode. But at this moment, you can see the cogs turning. Hey, maybe I could breed with the doctor. We could have little doctors running around. He'd definitely take one for the team. Several for the team.
Don't think I'd notice.
You'd notice. There's no way you wouldn't be wondering, hang on, why do I keep moving forwards all the time?
I was 8 when I first saw that police box.
Yeah, you were lucky. He was probably flirting with you then. But she tells him about the TARDIS. It's the most incredible thing ever, and I get to talk about it all the time with people. I feel like I'm about to explode. He holds her hand like, don't worry, love. I'm about to explode as well.
Please don't.
Not till later, love.
Enjoying this.
She says, I've told you things that I've never told anyone before, where all the bodies are buried.
My friends will think I'm mad.
That doesn't make sense. They know, everybody in this world knows that aliens exist. They've seen spaceships from outer space. Millions of people have died to them. And the Doctor seems to be almost a celebrity at this point, which is weird. Everybody knows that she's been with him, and so if her friends thought that aliens didn't exist, well, I was going to say they're stupid, but they do live in London, so they might just be spending too much of their time dodging the wildlife to notice.
I think you're amazing.
Now, it was at this point that I was like, I can't believe this series has actually put a man and a woman together in a It's wild. I didn't even know Russell T Davies could conceive as this as an actual thing that happened in the world. I'd be like, oh, the bacterial swamp, ooh. I'm not surprised that Ncuti had to be ejected from the entire episode just to try and make it happen, but I was still surprised that they were okay with making Ruby happy for once in her life. Maybe she'll even get to have kids. Pretty rare in London in itself nowadays. It was very bizarre seeing this on the BBC, I've got to be honest. I half expected it to spin around just because everyone at the BBC had forgotten how it normally works. But then we get her mum, who, maybe she was behind a table in season 1, I can't remember that. But then the Scrounger's out of bed. You can get out of bed, you can go to work. Turns out she can walk perfectly fine.
We're just pleased. We think you need this.
But of course, they're like, look, we thought you need this. We've seen your string of boyfriends before. The parade of them. But just as she's about to go on a weekend holiday away with him, of course, the lazy Scrounger has something to say.
And be very careful.
Yes. This is a scene which is mimicked across London town. You have your phone out on the street, it'll look something like this.
I have been to English villages.
Ugh. What on earth possessed you to do that?
I got looks.
I'm not surprised. They were like, I thought that Scrounger's supposed to be bedridden. Wants a free house for doing nothing, you know. What you were running into there is the English work ethic versus yours.
I don't think Conrad's friends are like that, Gran.
They have no standards either. I love the way, though, she's like, I went to those English villages, I saw civilization, didn't like it, went back to London, where I can sit in bed and get free money off the state for doing nothing.
She just watched The Wicker Man.
I was in 1973, very unlikely to have seen herself represented there. Face like a slapped arse.
You know, she's not mentioned the Doctor in weeks. Not for weeks.
Turns out that a man in a skirt can't compete with a man wearing trousers. The BBC finds this mind-blowing.
I tell you what, they think I'd never had a relationship the way they're carrying on.
They should know better. We've seen them all, love. But he's like, oh, you said relationship, that makes me happy.
Well, let's just see how this weekend goes.
Heyo. Not only did she smash her body into him, but she's looking at his eyes, and he is looking at the important stuff.
Throbbing.
Unfortunately, though, the electronics are messing up. He introduces her to all his friends in the village. And the girls go to the bar together to talk about him.
Conrad's been keeping us apart. Do you want us to embarrass him?
With the main player characters. He's been keeping us apart by, sitting next to you. His actions can only be to stop me doing something. There can't be any other explanation.
That means he really likes you.
Wait, what?
Conrad's been keeping us apart. That means he really likes you.
How often do you ruin his relationships? Normally, he makes them talk to me and they find out I'm so insufferable, they dump him. With that, though, the lights start flickering again.
The generator's supposed to kick in. That's weird.
There's absolutely no way that a random pub in the middle of an English town has its own generator. That doesn't happen. We're not America. We don't have wild enough weather that we have electricity cuts. If we don't have AC, how many of us do you think have our own electrical generators?
I'm just gonna make a quick call, okay?
She goes off, though, to call unit. Well, there's no quantum echo at that location. But I will check the national grid for any faults. Ruby, oh, I'm sorry to bother you. She's like, no, it's absolutely no bother. I'm just here on my own. I always like staying at work late on my own. Other people have left to check out the harbour. Something strange happening. Yes, this is his spin-off series, where people from the sea come to murder all the humans, and no doubt Peter McT will say it's our fault. Oh, the humans are evil, you know, they've been using the earth and stuff.
Oh, you on your own?
Yeah.
She's been getting her end away with somebody out of her league. At least Ruby's fake boyfriend was believable. It's very unlikely that this guy is that interested in OAPs.
I like working late.
much into voyeurism or something, she gets bent over in front of the robot.
There's no faults showing.
Must be a localized issue.
Doesn't that make it more likely that it's aliens? There's absolutely no faults on the grid, so it must be something local, like maybe aliens interfering with the electricity. You do know this guy is hormonally marked by aliens that would hunt him, right? But she's like, right, if you're still worried, if you're paranoid, I could send someone over just to check. And she does say it would take 30 minutes for them to arrive. The story forgets that later on. But then she goes, Ruby, are you sure you're not paranoid? You've been through a lot. You could just be hallucinating.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
Maybe I'm just mentally ill and I should go and watch Thunderbolts and find out that I just need a hug.
You okay?
Yeah, all good.
They even do the Thunderbolts scene. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine.
Boyfriend, remember?
I know you're lying to me. Look, if someone doesn't care and well, whatever, who cares? They don't care enough to tell you, it's not your fault. That's their own responsibility for being insufferable twat.
I think I'm in shock. Like PTSD.
Why? The entire life of the companions is supposed to be amazing, and now, no, you need therapy afterwards. If him having companions means they need therapy and gives them PTSD, you are saying that the Doctor is evil because he keeps bringing people into that life. Unless you're saying the PTSD is having to move in with a scrounging family. In which case, entirely understandable.
I fought gods.
Oh no, I know where the PTSD came from. Ta-ta! Being exposed to Russell T Davies' life. It's enough to scare any normal person. But she started revealing everything she went through, and you kind of wonder what's going through his head, because he thinks it's all fake. So, does he just think she's lying to him? Or that she's been lied to? It's very strange. Doesn't make any sense.
I dangled on a rope ladder above London.
I'm not sure that carries the same weight. I've had gods, goblins, I got eaten by a double bass, was on a ladder for a bit. Really left the best things till last there, didn't you?
And I watched the world turn to dust.
Has its positives. Didn't have to live in London anymore, did you?
I'm just waiting for something to go wrong.
Don't worry, it's about to happen, folks. Oh, she cried! Ncuti isn't in this episode to continue his unbroken crying record, but she did her best for him.
Tell us about Unit, all the stuff you couldn't say on the podcast.
Big fans of the podcast and Unit. So his podcast must be very pro-Unit, right? Otherwise, it would be very easy to find out what he's like as a person, because he's clearly pro-Doctor and Unit. But then the lights go out. Like, hang on, where are those people gone? But then his friends start to leave. Well, we check out the generator. Hang on, there's a guy gone missing. Then he goes to check. This leaves her on her own, panicking, especially when this happens. It's the weirdest rooster wake-up call you've ever heard.
Something out there, like the devil himself.
Russell T Davies. He's not even meant to direct this one, he just can't stop joining the writing team. She looks out the window and, like 73 yards, sees the monster itself. And there's another one. There might be a third.
I'll call the police.
Her friends come back though. Sparky must be outside.
Ruby, I didn't take the antidote. I'm so sorry.
And what could this possibly be a metaphor for? There's a thing going around that poses a danger in the future. And then a doctor gives you a liquid that could solve all your problems. And you decide not to take it. I just can't work out what this is a metaphor for. I mean, J.R.R. Tolkien would have loved this. He loved allegories. The thing is, at this moment, I couldn't work out a reason why he wouldn't take it.
I wanted to be brave, like the Doctor.
What? The Doctor's the one that gave it to her. He was the one telling people to take it. How is being brave subjecting yourself to being hunted by an alien species that the moment they start hunting you, you're like, oh, this was a mistake?
You have no idea what you've done.
Nor does the audience, though, love. So at least in that, we're all in the same boat. This is where everything stops making sense. Everything contradicts each other. If you think about anything past this point, the entire story falls apart. It's okay, turn your brain off. You're going to need to, because it's very badly written.
Everything he was, I can be.
Not a Time Lord, right? Can't regenerate into another person. Otherwise, she'd probably really appreciate the picture. Can you transform into Tennant in his younger days, before he became an insufferable twat?
I'm not afraid.
You should be.
She knows fear. You stay with her, you're gonna meet a family at some point. Hate worse than death. Now, luckily, most of Unit is downhill.
The shriek's here.
Well, then there's...
They're just freewheeling down the set. But Ruby's onto them. I've seen 3 of them out the window. You need to get here right away. And by right away, I mean in that 30 minutes you promised me you could arrive in earlier.
Colston Village, we'll take the helicopter.
We got paid by Disney, we can afford a helicopter.
Analyst. Jordan, with me.
This guy is an analyst. He's got data on all Unit operations and is frontline in their headquarters. He's got to be thinking, if UNIT are faking all of this stuff, who is it for? Only UNIT employees are in this pissing building. Ruby says, everyone just stay inside, call your friends, kiss your ass goodbye.
Right?
Sorry, love. Who put you in charge?
It's a very good question. I could fit you in a matchbox.
Oh, go and get some fresh air, big man. See what happens.
It's a fair response. I'm not in charge. I have absolutely no power. I'm really rather useless. Based. Although if her suggestion is going outside is really stupid. Well, she goes and gets a poker from the fire and plans to go outside with a presumably ex grabbing a cricket bat and deciding to join her. I know they said in signs they're allergic to water. They're probably okay with fire pokers and cricket though. So she goes around with, it's not even this pointy end of the stick that she's using as a weapon. And I didn't find any of this realistic because she doesn't immediately die. And there's a telephone box there. They don't exist anymore. There's not even a foreigner taking a crap in it. But as she slowly goes down the road, sound effects and screams scaring her. Electricity fading out in the phone box. I don't know how they did that either. Cricket. He must think the enemies are Australian. I'm not going back inside. We need to save you. We're a team. I could be the team that you and the doctor were, like this 50p that he tried to pay me for to take me back to BBC headquarters. They find the missing man's hat, though, and one shoe. And we see the monsters on the car. And really, what was the plan? I'm going to go out with the cricket bat and a fire poker. But I know I can't take any of the aliens on, and the moment they appear, I'm going to run away. Are you going outside, then? Were you hoping you could find the missing man without running into the aliens which are hunting you? Don't worry, though. A helicopter's arrived. At 30 minutes sure was fast, wasn't it? Ruby left the bar, walked 20 meters in half an hour. They arrive really fast. That might be the first time anyone's come that quickly without disappointing her. And you can't say it's the helicopter that got them there fast. They even turn up in cars. Look, we've got an actual helicopter. It even landed. We didn't see them get out, though. They were probably scared of heights or afraid that she'd roll out of it. Seriously, this is like the red-nosed Krypton factor. The Make-A-Wish Special Forces. I want to know where the little bloke is. He was the best character. Don't care about her. The only time she'd be useful is to see if she could do the same jump as Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible.
I want the shriek alive. We need to understand how.
Now, at this point, he's got to be wondering, I wonder why they're still faking everything in front of me.
Quantum ghosting's at zero. None of this makes sense.
Yeah, none of it makes sense. I can't detect them. We're supposed to be able to detect them. They must be cloaking themselves somehow.
Just give me that.
You're just a block with dangly bits. Give it to your inferior. Her brain doesn't have to make her legs work anymore. That means it can rewrite all the IQ power into being an insufferable bint. But then they arrive on the cars. Yeah, he was the first person to spot it. I don't know why nobody else set up a perimeter. It's only her fancy man. Having to keep up with the pace of an OAP, he was probably glad to see something that could actually move at a decent speed. There's even two of them next to each other now.
Weapons to stun!
How do you set a bullet to stun? Makes sense if you gave it to one of the women, you know. The stun effect would be just missing.
Prepare to fire!
I love how they're still, we're gonna shoot you in the face! And everyone holds their nerve. So they stand up on their hind legs.
Wait a minute.
Wait more than a minute.
They're not Shriek.
No, they're just men in suits. This is the BBC. We've exposed the budget.
Got ya.
Very common accent they chose for that, wasn't it? Got ya. Interesting how in this section all the diversity goes out the window. Could have at least give one of them a machete.
You idiots.
It's already making little sense. Yeah, we just drew you out with a tape recorder. Goes, how do we do, boss? And it turns out, no, her ex is the leader.
Nailed it.
The question is why? You already had a direct access to UNIT. Spend a week around her, they would have taken you inside and give you a full-time job. Even her mum got employed there. And she doesn't even work. This is Think Tank.
What are they talking about?
She has absolutely no idea what's going on, which is weird because he has a podcast all about UNIT and how they fake all the alien stuff. It's very famous. I don't know why UNIT don't know about it.
Exposing the lies perpetuated by UNIT.
Yes. And yet none of this makes any sense. The more he talks, the less sense it makes.
By you.
What? Why do you think she was lying to you?
And we're live streaming, so don't get trigger happy.
Why do you think that would stop anybody? If they're faking everything, they could just fake that.
I've had to listen to your stories for weeks now. Insecurity and vanity.
Oh, I can't defend that. That's just, we've all been there. All right, this is their attempt to make him evil, and every guy sitting at home going, yeah, oh God. Ooh, I'd say that's one of the benefits with swinging the other way and being with Ncuti Gatwa, but he'd be worse.
Get smothered in lip gloss in a chore.
There will be no lessons learned from this. But now we hit all the keyword phrases that the BBC wants to crucify so they can make a thicker group of people rather than improve their ability to indoctrinate, because quite frankly, everybody they've hired at the BBC is thick as pig shit. It's very hard to create propaganda when your IQ is lower than the ones you're trying to actually convince.
That phone down. Or what? Gonna arrest me, hey? This is censorship.
Look, we've made a villain and now he said censorship. That means censorship's bad as well. When you've specialised in targeting children with your message, it doesn't really work on the adults. That's the problem there. You can't just go up to an adult and go, shh, this is just between us. Don't tell your parents. Doesn't have the same effect.
We will bankrupt you.
I hope no one told her that when they were filming, because that would be gold. Everyone else is in on it except her.
You made a very big, very dangerous mistake tonight,
Yes, going against the state, it's incredibly dangerous. Yeah, yes, that's actually true. Yeah. You've pissed off the people with guns. It's not the smartest decision in your life.
You don't even remember me, do you?
That never gets explained, they just leave that. I imagine it'll come in later down the series. Okay, so his idea is UNIT lies to the public. All the stuff about aliens, all the invasions, all the interdimensional powers, all that kind of stuff has all been faked by UNIT using special effects, scripts, audio, all that kind of thing. Aliens don't exist. When he saw the Doctor and his companion disappear into space right in front of his eyes, that was somehow a magic trick, apparently. No, it doesn't make sense. When he stumbled into the warehouse and there was just the two of them in there in an empty room, apparently that was acting and faking things for the public, even though the public weren't there. And he wasn't meant to be there, and he trespassed in there, which is the only reason he saw it. In his mind, they were still faking it for nobody, and from this, his master plan to lure UNIT out into the open, prove that they lied about aliens existing by faking aliens and then having them come to stop them. And at no point in his tiny little mind, or rather, the scriptwriter, Peter McTeague's tiny little mind, did he wonder, why would UNIT come to stop aliens that they know don't exist? But that's not the point of this. It's not meant to make sense. This is just slurring him. It's the same as Robin Hood and every other series. They make the best character and then have to arbitrarily come up with a problem with him because they have to try and slur his character and know that none of the rest does. And that is the theme of this episode.
Oh, they can't stop lying! There are no shriek.
Yeah, but he saw them. They vomited on him. He wasn't even meant to see them. Why were they faking it for him? Why does he not believe they exist? There is no reason for it.
Cybermen, no Sycorax, no Yeti.
Cybermen appeared across the world. They were in every home. You can't make people as stupid as your average Londoner and then expect people to accept them as normal human beings.
Taxpayers' money to keep us scared, to hide their real agenda.
Cheers. This would have worked way better if you hadn't done it with UNIT and aliens, because there's no reason why you shouldn't believe it. There are plenty of genuine lies that you could have used in this situation, but you didn't want to do that. It might hit a bit too close to the truth. Like if he'd been like, why are the BBC obsessed with playgrounds? Then maybe you could have had a realistic story. Why do we need to investigate so many of the computers at UNIT? Why are all of UNIT's CCTV cameras pointing at playgrounds?
To keep us scared, to hide their real agenda.
Because the news would never be making people afraid, right? So that's not... No. I remember when the news was, we've just had a fair today and Steve's made his biggest apple pie.
The threat to this planet is real. If you want evidence, I've got plenty of it.
I'm sure you do, love. Have a scroll down her Twitter feed. I'm sure there are plenty of civilizational ending problems.
This one's collecting benefits, stealing our taxes.
You've got to like him, though, don't you? All agenda aside, he is a good actor, and I would have actually preferred him as the Doctor. Imagine the Doctor coming out with this attitude. He says, though, there are people all over the world watching this, sharing. I don't know what they're supposed to be sharing. Everybody knows UNIT exists. Pissing Tower in the centre of London.
I think UNIT can't handle a few reject cosplays because that's what you are.
If UNIT can handle the problem, what's the problem, right? If aliens are real, none of this should be a problem. I've got loads of I'm not going to send it to you, though. I'm not going to prove any of it. Because none of this is grounded in reality, it's basically Peter McTeague beating off on camera. It's like, I'll show the Twitter lunatics. Oh. This is like Blue Sky got together, just had a fun party of alcohol and SSRIs. It's like, yeah, look, I've got doped up today. I can see the atoms in space. My creativity is off the charts.
Is that even your name, by the way? Because it's ridiculous.
So, I don't care if he's insulting Ruby Sundays quite frankly, stupid name. I don't care what she thinks about it. Yes, it is a stupid name. It's a gemstone and a day of the week, and she was named after a road sign. It is a stupid name.
Arrest them.
Right, let's go.
What for? Not believing in aliens? There are a lot of stupid laws over here. You can still not believe in aliens, though.
They're spying on us and lying about it.
The BBC really don't like the working class accents. Would have been a different story if he'd had a, further afield accent. But then we need to slur other people. We've already done the English. Surprisingly, both men and women. Now, the most dangerous people known to man.
Streets of Britain tonight. An innocent podcaster is in...
Podcast host. The new media, the ones with far more talent than the BBC. It's amazing what you can do when you put some work in, rather than spending all your time doing children.
Custody after a harmless stunt.
Is it wrong? They didn't harm anybody. They simply dressed up as aliens. But this is the new media, and next up, it's the BBC. I'm still waiting for an Englishman to present one of these things, really.
But released after public protests.
Do you know anything? We don't release people for public protests, you insufferable bind. No, it causes them to go through a kangaroo court. We've been through this. But if they listened to the people, this scene wouldn't exist.
Get their masks off. Who's next? Jonathan Ross?
Remember when Jonathan Ross decided that he was going to have the facial hair of the devil? Pepperidge Farms remembers. All he needed was 2 little pointy red horns to complete the image. But then he goes around more TV shows. For some reason, the One Show is even having him on. And I think this is desperately trying to prove that all your mainstream TV shows, they can fall for this as well. They too fall for fake news and the media spin. They've never seen an institutional backside that they didn't want to suck on. At least when you're having a go at podcasters, they might actually tell the truth.
Soldiers literally pointing their guns at you.
As opposed to metaphorically pointing their guns at them.
That's how they suppress us. With fear. Meanwhile, they're working against us.
Take legitimate arguments about justified causes and then put them in a stupid situation that doesn't make any sense. Pretend they're the same thing. Oh, Peter, you've outsmarted yourself here, haven't you? We're into the 20s. I can't wait for your land and sea. I wasn't interested before this episode, but you are a genius. I mean, this episode was written by an IQ so high, the BBC wouldn't even be attracted to it.
I am naming and shaming every person employed by you.
They're gonna dox UNIT. This top secret organisation that barely anyone knew existed before, now we've got all their names and details. UNIT can't even track that down. That's how you can tell they're an English institution. They probably just left it on a laptop on the train.
Their names and addresses are on the screen right now.
They're just throwing everything at the wall that makes absolutely no sense for him to do to try and make, no, it's definitely a bad guy, just in case you didn't believe it when he was English and a man. This causes protests outside everybody's house, and they have to evacuate Ruby. I'm surprised they didn't say that everyone's so stupid they went there to steal her jewelry, thinking that she was just a massive crystal.
HQ want you at the tower.
Conrad.
Oh no, they threw an egg at you. What you needed was John Prescott to defend you.
Appealing to the disaffected youth, and they are listening.
Guys,
That social media, that's the evil thing. Social media and podcasters, you can't trust them. The people you need to trust. The institutions like the BBC. The BBC who have places like BBC Verify, yeah, who are experts in disinformation, which seems obsessed with American culture for some reason. Syria, Venezuela, Spain, the US. I'm still trying to find an English article here. Oh, here we go. So far I had to get down before there was a UK section, where they ask the biggest questions, such as, does getting rid of the leeches work? Not if the number of claimants continues to rise. Don't worry, love, I can sort that out for you. There's a whole family on this show I could cut right now.
But using a plot twist from Scooby-Doo.
Oh, they've done it. Everybody. The entire country's been taken in by these lies. Even their preferred classes. And her, she's got some really bigoted beliefs. Look at this.
wasting our
Have you seen this?
How dare she? All your money are belong to them. You should get down on your knees and demand that UNIT steal more off you. Got everybody. It's got all the colours of the rainbow in it. Like a Dulux colour chart.
Questioning the UK government's contribution to UNIT's overhead.
Well, that's disgraceful. How can anyone dare to question an institution in this country? What filth.
8 years ago, Conrad applied to work here.
Why is he so angry with us? Well, it's because he applied for a job. They turned him down. You know, the show's really deep. It really is. It understands humanity. Well, can the BBC understand humanity when it's not staffed by humans? I don't know. The BBC can only really understand people like themselves. You should have pitched him living near a school.
This is a grudge dressed up as a youth movement.
That's about as complex as they can understand. He wanted to work at the place that investigated aliens. They turned him down, and for some reason that means he thought they faked it, and so he wanted to lure them out with fake aliens that they knew were fake. The writer of this episode is retarded.
It's more than that. It's about power.
How? It's because he talks on a microphone on the internet. It's about power. Tell me how important your rights movement's been over the last 150 years. What was that for? Very difficult to complain about other people that want power when you've been so desperate to have it yourself, hasn't it, really?
And this is giving him a voice, right?
What a twat. How dare he? He's got dangly bits. He can't have a voice.
Craving attention his whole life, and his
been craving attention his whole life. Hang on, let me take a selfie.
And his mum practically ignored him till the day she died.
Yours left you by a church. Besides, he's a bloke. I think what you mean is his dad ignored him until the day he died. But it turns out he's died about his mother. She's not dead. She's just insufferable. She lives in the south of France in a nice villa.
Paid for by Conrad. Meanwhile, he's raking it in.
80,000 paid subscribers who all listened to his podcast and knew what the podcast was about because he pissing talked to them about it, saying that Unit was fake. 80,000 paid subscribers who all put more effort into her boyfriend than her. Never even watched a single episode of his show, or else all of this would have fallen apart. No wonder he craved attention. You couldn't even be bothered to listen to his pissing work.
He owns 3 properties, and of course, he's a tax dodger.
That's the only way you could afford 3 properties, you useless scrounging bint. Thing is, their security status has been downgraded, so they're going to have to shift all the aliens to Geneva. You know you're in trouble when your fortresses are less secure than the people that make Toblerones. Their main defense against invasion is people have to climb up all the triangular chocolate. She's getting annoyed though. She's like, I went to Parliament, they just care about their jobs. If there's enough pressure, they'll fold. Unlike me, I'm an insufferable bint who'll stand strong no matter how ridiculous my position.
Fold, support a full inventory of unit premises.
That's what she's scared of, being held accountable for the things inside her own building. What's this? An institution that might actually have oversight from people with more power. What filth is this idea? I should be allowed to have total power over my entire universe while I steal their cash. They're the evil people.
What if your tech goes public?
Imagine.
Never said go public though, did it? It said inventory. That means counting and marking down the things that you've actually got. Work that you should have already done, you useless twat. We really need a man in charge of this. Somebody that actually knows how this stuff works.
Happens when a dictator gets access to a time window.
Who are you calling a dictator? I mean, careful, love. That's getting a bit based. In a few seconds, you're going to agree with him.
Our technology would tear the world apart.
To be fair, your ideology already is. But then their insider breaks ranks, goes down and starts opening up the back door. No wonder Russell T Davies was excited about this one. He seals in the patrol.
We're working on the assumption he has someone on the inside.
That's a good assumption. Lock down your building then. The staff. Keep eyes on people. Set it up so no one can walk around without a second person there. That would stop him opening all the pissing doors to your secure facility. Less secure than a Toblerone, I suppose. Then though, their mole goes round and starts electrocuting armed gunmen and lets in Dave. I can't even remember his name. And you know he's a professional podcaster when he has a GoPro strapped to his chest. Doesn't even have a separate microphone. He's going to have terrible audio. There's the robot that kept watching the OAP get bent over the photocopier. No wonder she turned her back on him again. Should I assume the same position as last time, Stephen?
We've got a problem.
Oh, look at your pissing leader. I wouldn't trust her to run boots. Conrad goes and picks up an actual weapon.
We don't need weapons.
What's your plan, though, without weapons? I don't even know why he's raiding the building. The robot, though, comes up with results that it thinks will be the double agents within Unit.
Ruby Sunday.
Yeah, we'll skip that.
Why? Let's not take advice about who's a double agent from one of the possible double agents, hey? If anything, that would have been an even better twist. If Ruby was actually in on it all along, like, no, I think you're wasting taxpayers' money as well. Just like backhands around the face. The other one is Jordan, because he's been bouncing things around VPNs, shadow accounts, and false identities. Rumor has it he'd create social media accounts under the name Big Balls. And XX Unit is fake XX.
Of radical blogs, subscription to Albion TV.
Oh no, not subscriptions to blogs. How dare he? Albion TV. We know he was a radical lunatic when he subscribed to the BBC.
Revisionist podcast is an echo chamber of disinformation.
Peter McTighe, you're a fucking lunatic. There seems to be a guy who's got the Red Scare going through his life and doesn't realise that the commies are coming from within the house. Who's running these podcasts, Stephen? Not Hugh Edwards, is it? I'm surprised this didn't say this information's so bad, only one person can help. Don't worry, Jim will fix it. Don't make me bring up TV scandals, dear, for there are many. Revisionist history, I can use your pissing sources. But of course, even Jordan Land was betrayed by the person he was helping. Shouldn't trust podcasters, they'll let you down. What you need to trust is the institutional power you give your taxes to. Without question, no matter how wild the claim, if they say aliens exist, they exist, alright? That's what I've learned from the BBC. Ministry of Truth. Thing is, though, they know that somebody's in the lift. Hey, that shots have been fired downstairs. I need you to deadlock that lift. What if if he's got a sonic screwdriver, even though he doesn't believe in alien technology. He's like, no, this ends now. And then she admits that he's superior to her.
That man has single-handedly undermined everything we work for.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? You could have just, like, told the truth and stuff, but no. All it would have taken... Look, there's an alien here, folks. Should be easy to prove. Only you'd had someone competent in charge that wasn't DEI'd into positions. So they have defensive positions against a guy who's armed. He'd just be shot immediately. Pointing his weapons at them, they just all annihilate him. They even have stun guns, so they don't even have to worry about harming him.
The world is watching you right now.
Pointing your weapons at them, you twat.
Weapons pointing at one man. I'm just defending myself.
No, you're the person who is on their land. You aggressed onto them. They just have castle doctrine. But they just make him say nonsensical things to make him look like an idiot. It doesn't make him look like an idiot. It makes you look like you can't write. It makes you look like you don't understand people, because you don't. You only understand yourself. So any sane person is just beyond your comprehension or ability to put in a show.
No. I don't take orders from traitors.
It's a base statement, you gotta admit. But he just keeps talking about, I'm exposing the truth, you're all fake. And then they don't understand him.
It's not about cause, it's grandstanding and ego.
But it's not, though. This is about him exposing the truth. Everything he's doing doesn't make sense for grandstanding and ego, you useless tart. That's you projecting your insecurities onto him. This is why you're talking about how he just didn't have a relationship with his mother, because you didn't. And you're so thick, you can't understand another person's perspective.
Be called out.
Don't you dare point a gun at her!
Oh, piss off, you useless dried up husk. Tell you what I'll dare to do. You have no power here. You're lucky you don't need a Zimmer frame to get up the stairs like the rest of your staff. No one's intimidated by the genetic dead ends that you've hired. But she said, I remember our job interview where I wrote down one thing.
Right.
I'm doing a compliment.
See? She's used to it. She's used to being the inferior person. You can't piss him off. He'll push you down a hill.
Don't trust him.
How does that sum him up? That's not even about him. That's about you. It's like, I'm so gullible. I have to leave myself known. And besides, we don't have time for your bigotry. Oh, so he's got dangly bits, dear. I don't really care. You can discriminate on the basis of gender all you want. It doesn't bother me. But if you want to put it in the show, you're going to have a bit more substance behind it. You know, grey matter. I know it's not your strong point. You are blonde. Fake blonde. But let's be honest, that's worse. I think the dye gets into your brain.
I think you're so superior.
Is he wrong? So he just starts going, I want a confession. It's like, yes, it's obviously he's wrong. We all know he's wrong. Yes, it's an idiot for saying it. But it's only because it's in the script. It's not that it makes sense as part of his character. It's just like, this is really badly written. So, just show us all the fake stuff, all the tech, all the fake aliens. He said, well, if you want to see an alien, I'll show you a pissing alien.
You're deluded.
The grown-ups are talking.
This isn't how people behave. You don't even understand media. All the viewers, all the subscribers that voluntarily spend their time watching him because they like what he says, they agree with him, he's authentic, and is a person that's entertaining, compared to the BBC, who force people by law to give them money so that they can pump out shows that nobody cares about, and there is no quality bar because they get the money either way. This is how you can have such low quality programming and stay in business, compared to him, who actually needs genuine talent in order to feed himself. And you've said he's massively successful, which means he's actually really good at what he does. And you think the summary of that, the thing that would get all of those people the weight of their public opinion behind him, you think you can summarize that with...
The grown-ups are talking!
You absolutely useless cunt. It's not that you just can't write a TV show. You don't even understand modern media, because you've been so used to going, please sir, can I have some more stolen funds? That you don't even realise that you don't have to quality bar anymore. You don't have an audience holding you accountable. You don't even have to put in any effort. And you can take that and absolutely crap over the entire country who are forced by law to give you the stolen money. And you think that makes you superior enough to be this smug. 100% of the BBC can go fuck itself. But then he hits her with the ultimate insult.
Or are you a coward, like your father was?
She is a coward. But with that, she completely loses it. It's like, oh no, it's that time of the month. She finds out that Jordan Lang was shot.
A man's life is hanging in the balance, and you're not even sorry.
Let's not have the moral grandstanding from the evil people, shall we? Or do you think we've forgotten episode 1, you absolutely useless sack of evil filth?
Do you mean?
He's a sperm and an egg. Oh, goodbye, Alan.
So he just starts going, oh, well, maybe you shot him. Maybe he was an actor. It's like, do you remember the live broadcast? Your people saw that, mate.
We never existed.
stupid.
He's on your pissing live stream, mate. At least like we'll start with the big ones then. Where's your doctor and his box of tricks? Ruby goes,
You're so lucky he's not here.
he would absolutely destroy your back end right now. Loves a bad boy.
And actually, I'm glad he's not here.
Which one? Because Ncuti Gatwa would do absolutely nothing to stop any of this. He's too thick. But the other doctors would have stopped all of this ever even happening.
Because he would have stopped me.
Right. The nice admittance that you're evil. I'm glad we've finally reached the truth. Turns out his position wasn't for nothing after all. But with that, she decides I'm going to release the shriek on him. It's okay. It's not going to do anything. It's not going to go for us. It's not even going to go through the vents and get outside because it's marked him. It wants him and it won't leave until it gets him specifically.
Showing you and your followers what we're protecting them from.
Could actually have done that at any time, right? We don't believe the aliens exist. Well, we're an entire institution dedicated to it, so here's some of our technology and the aliens to prove it. You could have shut this down in an afternoon. You just needed some blokes in charge to do it. So she releases the shriek on him. And of course, he starts getting scared now. Again, doesn't make sense. He doesn't believe it's real.
You're bluffing.
Well, if he's bluffing, why are you so scared? And so it comes for him.
How committed are you to the lies you've told?
They're not lies if he believed them. That's your problem there. He was just wrong. But that's one of the issues that doesn't make sense in the story. You needed to have given him a believable and accurate motivation, but you couldn't because you wanted to spin a story, and so you've destroyed the story to put the message there. Because you're too bad of a writer to be able to come up with something that did both. As doing so would mean you'd have to understand the people that you're even talking about. You know, the English. Yeah, we have to show him being scared and stuff because, oh, you're not a big hard man now. Look, he's getting tortured by evil people. He's scared. Somehow he's the bad guy in this. How dare he not believe the institution? That's mean he should die. To be fair, I would have done that as soon as the OAP walked in the room. Oh, it's you again. Just speed up the elevator a bit so you don't have to look at her.
Tell me how to get out.
You don't.
Great. Shoot her in the head. It's what she deserves. She is now murdering you, and you are fully entitled to defend yourself against the murderous, evil lunatic who is in charge of an institution. You're simultaneously supposed to think he's a bad guy, even though he takes no action against any of them.
It's live transmission to Conrad's social media.
Yes. Bang. Instantaneously. Eventually, though, it dives down on him. They're really going for that. No, this is the punishment of the Time Lord era. Doesn't work. Just no screen presence. No intimidation factor. Nobody's ever been afraid of you. You need a different person in this role. Probably should have got the security guy to do it. Eventually, though, it dives out. He runs out of ammunition, missing it, and it comes for him.
Shoot it! Help me!
What you're supposed to be there for? It's what all the tax money that you've stolen is supposed to go towards. But no, she thinks he has to die for the absolutely horrific crime of not just swallowing everything they say with absolutely no evidence or reason to. Trust the institutions, or they'll murder you. Peter McT, everybody! What an absolute inspirational writer here.
Help me!
Would Russell T Davies have done this to a character that was interested in Ncuti Gatwa? But no, he doesn't have any institutional privilege, racist ideology supporting him, or the arbitrarily powered instilled within him as a protected class. And so, everybody lets him die. To be fair, that was pretty brave to go against an alien monster with nothing but the equivalent of a metal baseball bat. He tried his best of valiant defense, and as he looks at all the privileged onlookers, the hierarchical superior people within society who have been lifted up on their metal wheels.
You told us it's not real.
Someone push her out an airlock, the insufferable cow.
Can't do something.
Even she can't. She's like, this is too far. Even I'm not evil enough for this.
An angry little man who put the safety of this country at risk.
Shut up, you bigots! Quick, someone push her off her roof like she deserves.
My father ever worked for personal gain.
Yeah, your father this, your father that. I'm sure at some point the dangly bits in your society were worthwhile. You, though, Nepo baby, you've earned none of it. You deserve none of it. Goodbye.
And I didn't have everything just
A man's life is hanging in the balance, and you're not even sorry.
So she makes him lie, because he didn't lie about any of it. He was just wrong. He was wrong and it didn't make any sense. There was no reason for him to believe what he did. But then he randomly armed invaded their institution. Doesn't make any sense why he did that. So they then get a taser. Ruby comes in and electrocutes it. And it turns out they're really easy to deal with, to be honest. But then it gets even worse because we go from, like, please help me, to...
At least your special effects are improving.
Like, what? Is it possible for you to write a human being that acts like a... Are you human yourself? Did AI write this? With that, though, his arm gets bitten, everything improves. And the security guard actually... Well, he tries to admonish her, but, I think he's been castrated and has low T levels, so he can't really do it properly.
Last night went way too far.
Like you said, he'll live.
He should have yeeted her off the balcony.
I stand with UNIT is a hashtag.
Great. Well, they're so emotionally fragile, they get affected by hashtags on Twitter.
So is Hot Taser Lady. Did I mean you or me?
Well, ain't gonna be you, is it? I thought it was the main character who was supposed to be deluded, but you can compare you and Ruby and think, nah, I'm the winner there. Ruby, though, has a bit of an awakening. I was stuck in limbo waiting for the doctor, but now I realize I've got to live my life. There's a whole string of men out there I could have had inside me. So she decides, I need to be away from everybody, on my own, preferably outside of cameras, and I'll definitely never come back when the world's in danger as a reason so that you don't have to pay me more money when the series happen. But then, we're in prison. He's been treated for his arm bite. I don't know whether it bit his arm off, and that's like, stuck it back on. But we hear the TARDIS, and the next thing we know, he's in it. The lights have changed, because he was like, I'm angry. I'm gonna make some mood lighting. We're gonna use Dutch angles to show his mental state.
No need to thank me.
There's a lot of things like this as well, where they're in very opposite camera scenes, and I do wonder how much of this was shot when the other person wasn't in the room. It's all, I'm going to look at one or the other, and the other voice is going to be off the screen.
To be invited into my TARDIS, to be special.
Special needs. Is that basically everybody on this show? You're just anti-normal, aren't you?
But you're special for all the wrong reasons.
You have the goal to be English and male. You're a significant part of the population. We can't have that.
See, I am fighting a battle on behalf of everyday people.
Are you? Because the Doctor isn't. He's not at war with anything. He just turns up and solves a problem. He helps people. Not fighting a battle, though. There is no war going on. There's no grand scheme to it all. But this statement, this scene isn't from the Doctor, is it? It's from the writers. This is from the BBC. This is from Russell T Davies. This is simply the creators self-inserting themselves into the show and speaking through him. And so, think of it from that point of view, because it's the only one that makes sense.
They just want to get through their day and feel safe and fed.
Russell T Davies standing up for the insignificant people. The ones that don't want to do anything or achieve anything in life. The ones who just want to receive some benefits and stay at home in bed.
And then along comes this all day long relentless noise.
Someone's opinion that disagrees with Russell T Davies. Russell T Davies has this agenda. He just wants to push it on everybody. All day long, there's just people that are like, why do you have no talent? Why is everything you produce just political? Why on earth do you keep forcing evil viewpoints on people? And he's like, I'm fed up of your noise. Why do you have to stand against me? Why can't you just shut up and let me overrun society with my filth?
Cowards like you.
Interesting that you call him cowards when he was the one that risked everything in the show and then ended up in prison. So he actually sacrificed himself in a heroic manner for what he believed in. It's the opposite of cowardice. Yeah, he was wrong. You can argue whether he went too far. You can argue everything about it. But he wasn't a coward. He had a belief and he fought for it.
Weaponizing lies.
But he didn't know they were wrong. Like, he was wrong. He wasn't lying. You should be smarter than this and know the definition of words.
Making people's insecurity and fear.
What? This isn't in the show, you useless tart. Nobody is insecure that aliens don't exist.
And making it currency. You are exhausting.
But of course it's not in the show, is it? It's not about the show. This is, you are white, male, podcasters, Englishmen. You dare to have an opinion that stands against Russell T Davies, and you are weaponizing which means telling the truth. Getting other people on board who agree with you because you're correct. But he's like, no, they're too thick and stupid. They don't know what you believe. They're just insecure little peasants. That's why they signed up with you against Russell T Davies, almighty powerful piece of McT. You know, the arbiters of truth in the universe. He just sees everybody that disagrees with them as insecure, pathetic white men that are like, oh, you just don't know any better. Have you tried living the life of Russell T Davies? It'll make you a better person.
You stamp on the truth, choke our bandwidth, and shred our patience.
If it's destroying your bandwidth and your patience, at no point have you gone, well, we can be defeated in an argument. No, because you're wrong. That's why you're affected by the sheer number of good, upstanding, moral people who accurately argue against your filth. That's why. That's why you put all of your evil messages into Doctor Who, and then you've got all of those pathetic podcasters coming out and laughing as you fail. That's why the entire English public are not watching your evil scum of a show, because it's got your belief system in it, and that is repulsive to normal, moral people. No wonder it's choking up your bandwidth. No wonder you can't defeat it. No wonder you can't argue against it and have to put this filth in your show. Oh, well, why won't you just stop? Because why should we? Why should we let people like you win? Why would anyone stand by and let you destroy a nation with the single most evil ideology ever created on the face of the planet? No thanks.
Because the only strategy you have is to wear us down.
The only strategy you have is to lie, indoctrinate, put it everywhere. Take on every single institutional power and then ban people and put them in prison and censor them, create laws so nobody could speak. You can't stand in the face of any objection because you're living in a house of cards. And that's why you're standing here whining that you cannot suffer an alternate existing opinion.
I have energy to burn and all the time in the universe.
And why are you whining about it? Why is it just...
What is this? An intervention?
The moment you actually think about this from the Doctor and him, is like, what is this, an intervention? I mean, he's in the TARDIS, the Doctor's an alien, he's got 2 hearts, it's easy to prove. He knows aliens exist, right? So at this point, he should just be like, oh, I actually was wrong, this is clearly a spaceship. So it carries on, and the longer it goes on, the less sense it makes. So he is just like, well, you betrayed my friend. He says, you've had plenty of, friends, but if you knew the Doctor existed and he was a time-traveling space alien, what's all the, show me you're lying at unit? Again, it doesn't make sense.
You've had plenty of friends. Have you met Belinda Chandra yet?
He even knows things about the future Doctor. He knows the Doctor's real, so he knows aliens exist. So we've just contradicted the rest of the pissing episode. I genuinely think this is the worst written episode I've ever seen. We've had hateful ones. We had like Bubble. We had ones where the Doctor didn't make any sense, like Rogue. But this it makes no sense. Written by a 24-carat gold, mentally deranged retard. See, he's like spoilers. Well, he wouldn't know about spoilers, would he, either? But him knowing spoilers ruins the episode. So he's like, well, if you want spoilers, I'll tell you future. I know when you're going to die when you're 49 and die of a heart attack. And I have no problem with the Doctor being dark. I actually really like when the Doctor's dark, but it's Ncuti Gatwa.
In a prison cell, boiling in anger and poison till your heart packs in age 49.
I can't take him seriously. I can't. I've seen him in a dress. You can't drop the image of a dress and going, oh, look, 50p, and then be like, I'm gonna make you burn. It just doesn't work. I wish Ncuti had come into this role and been like, no, I'm not doing any of that. I'm not your token. I'm not your identity group to exploit. I'm an actor. And he'd been like, I've seen Doctor Who, I know what Doctor Who's like, and I'm going to be it. And if you don't like it, Russell T Davies, you can spin on it. And then actually acted a decent part in the show. That's what I would have liked to have seen. Instead, he started wearing a dress. So the only person responsible for this is Gatwa for not standing up for himself and getting exploited by a guy who just wants to use him for his identity group.
The world carries on, the world gets better. You aren't even a footnote.
I mean, that's neither here nor there. Yeah, when you die, the world carries on. Duh. You could say the same thing about Genghis Khan. If he can't leave a lasting legacy, who can?
Just ashes on the wind.
Oh, yeah, unless he has a kid, in which case that is his legacy. Oh, of course it's the BBC, they don't understand children, do they? That's beyond them. They can't understand how a man could possibly leave a legacy for himself.
I don't accept your reality, Doctor.
Kind of based, isn't it? Dude, he should be the next Doctor.
So put me back in my prison and get off my world.
How come every character that entertainment hates turns into the best person in the show? Remember when they called him a coward and they tried to humiliate him, and it turns out, no, bit. So he does his normal from the library, and he's back in prison, only to be freed by an OAP. He's like, did I imagine that? No, you didn't, but you're coming with me. We've got stuff to do.
Who are you?
But remember, he doesn't believe in aliens, except when he does, and he has future knowledge of events that hasn't happened yet. And he can recognize aliens when they come to free him from prison, except that he doesn't believe in them. Because this is a show that makes a lot of sense. What an absolute pile of twaddle. This was an episode that was all over the place, that they couldn't decide, because I don't think they'd written anyone's actual story. The characters only existed to push a message. It was to send forth a certain thing they wanted to pitch at the audience. And it didn't matter to them how often they contradicted it. Because they wanted to call him a liar and a coward, and they wanted to make him act pathetic, even when it didn't make sense. The plot holes of this are for more than Swiss cheese. The characters, the motivations, who's doing what for what reason. No, it's just a wormhole of filth. And then you have the writers inserting themselves because they can't help telling the audience what they think of them. They think they're perfect, upstanding, moral citizens guiding the future, guiding the entire civilization into the next light. And don't for one second realize that every single thing we have been throughout all of history, everything we've evolved, all of our morality is based on things from the past, and you want to leave it all behind and march towards evil. And you're like, yeah, I can't understand why people are fighting against that. Can't imagine why people that want good shows would be against this episode. I can't imagine why my lack of talent and contradictory characters don't appease the audience. Can't imagine why. Out of 4 episodes, I've broken the lowest record numbers of Doctor Who 3 times. You think this is going to win them back? The sooner the license fee, the stolen money, is removed from the BBC, the better. Because I only want one thing for the BBC. I want their company to live and die off the audience wanting to give them money for the programs that they release. I want the BBC to go head-to-head with Netflix. I want the BBC to have to pay for Doctor Who with the money that they earn from their own subscription revenue, their own ad revenue. I want the BBC to have to act like a private business, where competence rules, creating a good product rules, where you have to give the public what they want. I want to see the BBC have to become subservient to the very audience that they despise. I want to see Russell T Davies have to go forth the same people he can't stand and beg them to watch his show. If karma exists, then the single best outcome for the BBC would simply be forcing them to live like everybody else. You want to look down on podcasters who survive simply by giving people a product they actually want? If it's so easy, BBC, let's see you try it for once. But those are just my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know down in the comments below. Like the video if you like the video. Subscribe. More videos like this in the future, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.